there's an interesting figure in all this, and I know a lot of people in the media have talked about her, but if you look at the person of Sarah Palin, for instance, you see all these crossroads come together. She comes out of the Assemblies of God, which is a fringe denomination even within evangelicalism, very hyper, very hysterical when it comes to the level of spirituality, casting out witches, demons, all this kind of stuff that they do. She belonged, her husband was part of the Alaska Secessionist Party, and she spoke for them twice, once in person and once, I believe, on videotape link. The Secessionist Party have connections with all sorts of fringe elements, other secessionist parties in other states who want America to dissolve, and they basically become smaller armed camps, versions of Puritan stockades, you know, of the first settlers doing their thing in terms of being a city set on the hill. You know, in someone like Sarah Palin and the fact that she could get so close to the heart of the Republican Party with the rhetoric that you would hear on an average Sunday in an Assemblies of God church, including hers, the rhetoric you would hear in the Alaska Secessionist Party in terms of stockpiling weapons and trying to get out of the United States, there you see someone who John McCain threw to the religious right as a sop to reward them for their support or to try to get their support. And in her and in the people she's been associated with, you see the fringe coming right into the heart of the political process. The fringe is being accommodated by her being nominated. The fringe is viewpoints, our viewpoints she sincerely holds and has in good standing as a member of the fundamentalist Assemblies of God denomination for years when it comes to things, for instance, like rooting for the apocalypse, beginning with this idea that all things that go wrong are signs of the times, Jesus is coming back, everybody who isn't a born-again American Christian of her type is going to burn in hell forever or be killed by Jesus when he returns in his glorious coming. You look at that theology, you look at the politics that goes with it, you look at her weird connection to the secessionist movement in Alaska, you look at her views on these things, you realize that we came within an ace of having the fringe of the fringe actually become the heart of the American political system in a vice presidential candidate. This was not a Jack Kemp or a McCain or Bob Dole. You know, this was not a respectable Republican. You might agree or disagree. But in Sarah Palin, you saw the willingness of the Republican Party to actually throw a sop to the far right of the American political spectrum. And so these things are not just simply threats of some individual unhinged lunatic taking a shot at someone. In the post-Obama climate, the Republican Party itself is now dominated more than ever by what seems to be the far right of the far right. And so in terms of the future, I think you have to understand that one of the casualties of all this has been that the Republicans not only became extreme, but the Republicans now have themselves been taken over by their own extreme element. That's all that's left in there. So, you know, my old friend, who I knew as a child growing up in Switzerland in the mission my dad raised me in, which I talk about in the book, Bill Buckley, William F. Buckley used to come over and have tea with my dad. Now, you can agree or you can disagree with William F. Buckley. But if you put William F. Buckley and Sarah Palin in one room, she wouldn't be able to continue an intelligent conversation with him. He was a well-read, erudite, scholarly man, a good writer, thoughtful, certainly not extreme in any of his views in terms of being able to take things he was saying that might lead to violence or carnage. He did not hate the United States. One of his best friends was Gore Vidal, a homosexual left-wing activist who he would regularly debate with on firing line in good humor and good spirits. They would be friends and have a drink afterwards. That type of conservatism is gone. Same for Barry Goldwater. Whatever you thought of his views on war and peace, he believed in the separation of church and state. He was not a pro-lifer. He was actually pro-choice. So was Ronald Reagan, by the way, when he was governor of California. The Republicans and the conservatives used to have a wing to their party that could genuinely be described as mainstream. Again, disagree or agree. No longer. So the Republican Party of the future, if Sarah Palin is the type of person, or a Mike Huckabee, for instance, who cites my father's books as his favorite books, as he did when he was interviewed on NBC. They said, name your favorite book, and he named one of my dad's favorite books. The Mike Huckabee, the Sarah Palin Republican Party is no longer even recognizable as the Republican Party of the past.